before we focus on stubbing and mocking and differences and between these two methods of testing, let's focus on two important things: query messages and command messages. Every object, when sending a message to another object, can send a query message to get some information from that object, like retrieve data from that object, or it can send it a command message to, for example, tell that object to log some information. The query message will be actually what we'll do with the query message is we'll stub it, and with command messages we will be mocking those. So that's an important distinction, that when you get this into your head, this will help you a lot. Another way of understanding mocks and stubs in general is that mocks are, I would call them fake objects, and stubs I would call fake functions. Now this is a rough approximation, but it does the trick of when you try to understand it. When you want to stub a test class, for example, while having a student class also, and you want to inject that test class as a dependency to the student class, of course you want to stub it, and what we will do is we'll simply create a test double in a before block here. So we create a test double in the before block, and then we'll create the instance of a student itself, and we'll inject that test double into that student instance. And when we test it, we simply type allow. We allow that test to receive a test result and give us the result of 5. So this test will receive a test result function just as it happened in the original, and give us the value of 5. So imagine this test class is actually defunct. We don't really need it right now for testing. It can be there, but we don't really need it. If it's more complicated than this, it will not be needed. And then we, after creating this stub with the fake value of 5 here, we can expect the student itself, the student instance, to receive the test result function call, and for this result to equal 5. So when we call student instance with the test result function, we'll get the value of 5. So that's stubbing. Pause the video if you need to review the information and have a look in more detail into what's happening here. Remember, here we first allow this test to receive the message and return a value, and then we expect it. When we do mocking, something different happens. Here we expect and then we act. So that's the difference. We expect and then we act. But let's look at the broader picture. We have the student class and we have a gradebook dependency class, the injected dependency. So that's what we do. We inject it into the student class, and what we want to do is we want to mock the behavior of the save grade function. It's empty here because it may have some inner workings that we are not interested in, but imagine that something is there. Or basically you don't even have to imagine that something is there, because this class is not needed. We will be mocking its behavior. So what we do is we inject that dependency, and the way we mock the behavior of the gradebook class or dependency is by calling the record function and expecting that this gradebook will be called with the save grade function. We just need to make sure that it's called, that the gradebook is called with the save grade function. In the before block, we create the double for the gradebook. We create a student instance. We inject the gradebook instance into that student instance, the gradebook test double into that student instance, and then we allow the gradebook to receive save grade and return us the value of 5. So then what happens is that we first we expect and then we act in mocks. So what happens here is we first expect the gradebook to receive the save grade with the value of 5. I mean, that's what we expect here, and then we act. So student instance, we call the record function with the value of 5 on the student instance. So we expect first and then we act when we mock. So there's a cascade effect here. First, student is called, I mean, the student is called here, so after the expect. But what happens is the student instance is called, and to be precise, a record function is called on the student instance, and then the cascade effect happens that save grade function is called on the grade book double here. Well, if you hope that wasn't too confusing, you need to stop the video probably and review what you have here, and if, hopefully it was helpful and cleared things out for you and illustrated the difference between mocking and stubbing a little bit better. Thank you.